Hi everybody and welcome to a new video in the Tableau public course. This video will cover two important features in Tableau: the calculated field and the parameter. By the end of this video, you will understand how and why we use the calculated field and the parameter, and you will be able to use them confidently in different examples. The calculated field. A calculated field is a field that contains a calculation or expression that you added manually to your dataset in Tableau. This field doesn't exist in the original dataset. You just create it manually from Tableau for a special purpose, according to your needs and the need on the tuition and the situation of your report. Why we need to add a calculated field? In some cases, you may need to add a field which doesn't exist in your original dataset. In this case, you will need to calculate it from Tableau. For example, in this dataset, I need to calculate the total by multiplying the price each by the quantity ordered. I don't have a field to calculate this expression, and I need it in my report. So that's why I need to create a calculated field for that. And many other cases. There is no a standard case. The use of the calculated field totally depends on your situation, on the dataset, the situation of your dataset and your requirements, and the report requirements and needs. There are many ways to create a calculated field. You can create it from here, from this drop-down icon, and you can choose Create Calculated Field. Or from the Analysis menu, you can choose Create Calculated Field. You can also right-click on any blank area on the field list on the left and choose Create Calculated Field. You can also right-click on any field and then choose Create Calculated Field. All are the same. Use the method that you prefer. I will choose from here Create Calculated Field. Once you choose the calculated field, this prompt will open, and this is the name of the field of the calculated field. It is highly recommended to use a descriptive name, so you will be able to know what this field was for. And in this area, you can type your expression. The expression can just a simple expression or complicated expression, or can be a function. A function has a name and syntax, and we have a lot of built-in functions in Tableau. I want to multiply the price each by the quantity order to get the total. I will name it total, and here I will type the quantity order times the price each. Once you start typing the first letters of your field, you will get many suggestions. The ones with the data type beside them, these are fields in your dataset. This small f means this is a function. I need the quantity order, so I will double click it. Times quantity ordered. And here you can see that the calculation is valid. If you make any mistake in the calculation, you will get a red error stating that your calculation contains an error. It is invalid. But it has also a drop-down arrow from here, which will tell you or give you an idea about the exact error. Here is the exact error. Error is a bracket, so I need to close the bracket. And then okay. Now I can see the total here. This is a calculated field. So it is now available to be used in reports or charts. Besides the hash, it has like an equal sign beside it. This equal sign means that this is a calculated field. If you need to edit the formula, you can right-click on this field and then edit. It will take you back to the calculation space. But wait, it is not that simple. Here you can see a small arrow. If you click it, you will find a list of all the Tableau built-in functions. The good news is that when you click any function, you will find a full description of the function, its syntax, and sometimes you will find an example. So Tableau makes it easy for you to know what this function for and how to use it. The bold text is the syntax of the function. You can also search for your function from here by writing the first letters. Also, we have here categories of the functions. Here we have number functions, so we can see the functions that will be applied to number data type. String functions for text, logical functions like if function, and many other types of functions. You can choose any of them, and you can see a list for this specific function category. If you need to use any function, just double click it and it will be available in the expression area. I don't need this, so I will erase it. Then okay. If I need to apply an aggregated function for the sales, for example, I will right click on sales and then create calculated field. Here is the only difference, that you will see the name of the field that you right click on inside the calculation. We can collapse this and we can use the function. If I need to choose the average, the syntax of any function, the parameters is between parentheses. The calculation is valid. Use a descriptive name, so it will be easy for you later. There is another feature in the calculation is that you can add a comment to your function. If you add 2 slashes like this, anything that you write beside the slashes will be a comment, will not be processed as a calculation. So for example, I will write any comment. Comment will make it easy for you when you return back to this calculated field to understand why you created this calculated field and what it actually does. And then, okay, we have another way to create calculated field, but this is very limited. The scope of this method is very limited. All the other methods of creating a calculated field are global. You can use them in many sheets. If I open sheet 2, I can find the calculated fields that I already added in sheet 1. So all of these methods create global calculated fields. I will drag the country here. Here you can see the country. In this specific report only, I need to show 2 letters from the left of the country. How can I do that? Just double click on the field. You can see now the name of the field in orange with the square brackets, and it is ready to be converted into calculated field. I will use a function called delete. And this function has 2 parameters. The first parameter is the string or the value, and the value will be taken from the country field. And the second parameter is how many letters you need to take from left. I will choose to cut 2 letters and include the 2 parameters between parentheses. And that's it. Now you can see. But also, if you go over here, you couldn't see any mention to this new calculated field because this is specific. This is private for this area, for this sheet only. This wants to be global and can't be used for any other sheet. What if I like it and I need to include it to be global? Simply, you can just drag and drop it here. And now you can see it as a global field and you're able to rename it. And now if I go to sheet 2, it is also available for sheet 2 and any other sheet. Now I need to know which country has the highest sales. I will choose the sales from here and add it here. Now I need to add a calculated field that will tell me something about the sales at above 500,000. For example, I need to write high beside the sales at above 500,000. In this case, I don't have an original field to do that. I need to add a calculated field. So I will add a calculated field. This calculated field depends on a criteria. If sales is above 500,000, which means criteria. This is a logical test. In this case, I will use the if function. I named it as sales class and I will use the if function. If function is very similar to that in Excel, but it is written in different way. If, then the condition, and after that, what will happen if this condition is true? If sum of sales, my condition is sum of sales, don't forget the parentheses and the brackets, is more than 500,000, then I don't write comma here, I write then write high. And if you need to add a text, you should include it in quotation. And when you finish the if statement, you will need to just write end. Now the calculation is valid. The syntax is valid. If condition, then if the condition is true. And then, okay. Now I have the sales class here. I can add it. As you can see, anything above 500,000 will be high. Otherwise, will be just null. I need to edit. Otherwise, to have low. I need to edit this calculation. Right click and edit. Before the end, just write else and then what will happen if the condition is false. So this is the syntax of if statement of the logical test if in Tableau. If the condition, then if the condition is true, else what will happen if the condition is false, and at the end you can write and. And then, okay, anything that is above 500,000 will be high, otherwise will be classified as low sales. But as you can see, it is very static, fixed. I added a static value, a fixed value, to compare the sales according to their value, to the sum of sales, whether high or low. But what if the business condition is changed? For example, I will consider, after a while, I will consider that sales at above 700,000, those only are high and otherwise is low. It means that I will go back to the calculation and edit it for every change in the business strategy. This is very static. I need to convert it into dynamic, which means that the value or the condition will depend on a user input. Whatever the user will deliver to the system, this will be the condition. This is called parameter. And this is the second topic in today's video, the parameter. The parameter is an input by the user. It will give the user an input box to type in a value, and then later you can use this value to optimize your reports. It will make the reports dynamic and flexible. For example, the sales. I need the value of sales to be user input, depending on a user input. First, let's learn how to create a parameter. From here, create parameter. And this is the parameter name. Try to add descriptive names. And here the data type, you can choose whatever the data type that you need, whether it is integer, string, or Boolean, whatever the type. I will keep it float. And this is a display format. For example, this is for sale, so I will display it in currency, in standard currency. And this is the current value. Okay, now the parameter is created. And here we can see a list of parameters that contains the new parameter, sales value. Right click on the parameter and you can show parameter. Here is the parameter. Whatever the input value here, this will be the value of the parameter. And this depends on the user. For example, if I added 500,000 and enter, nothing will happen because I already created the parameter, which is the box, but I didn't clarify how to use this parameter. I will use this parameter, consider it as a box, and the value inside the box is dynamic, is not static. I will use this box in my calculation. The sales class, right click and edit. I will replace this 500,000 with my new parameter. Once you start type the first few letters of the parameter, you will find it here. This is the parameter. Once you point to it, you can see here that this is a source parameter. I will choose the parameter name. The parameter is in purple color. The field is in orange and the parameter in purple color. Now I will hit OK. The value is a class of sale is classified according to the value of sales. If the sales is above 500,000 will be high, otherwise it will be low. If I change this value like 700,000, for example, enter, here the classes will be changed. This makes my reports more flexible, more dynamic, and this is very useful in the dashboards as well. I think now the idea is clear. The two topics are clear. What are the parameters and what are the calculated fields and how we can use them and how can we use them. The last thing, how to delete them. To delete any calculated field or parameter, you can just right click and choose delete. This is turned red because now I don't have a parameter called sales value. I can drag it and drop here. I can remove it from here and then I can edit the calculation. Right click edit. The parameter is not identified, so I can simply remove the parameter and add the value. and then okay. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.